Hey, it's nice to see you guys. Lulu and Lisa, I know you guys are here. Great to have you here.
Yes, it's great that you've taken time out to actually learn a little bit more about how to become an effective SME. I think what we're going to do is start by just introducing KK in terms of who he is to understand the value that he's going to be giving through to you today. Um, sorry, I just want to make sure we are recording. Yes, we're recording, double checking, all of these wonderful things. KK is an international business coach, public speaker, and author. He's also the CEO of A Game Business Consulting, a business coaching consultancy that helps people overcome their challenges as well as to achieve sustainable growth. He is a business strategist that helps small businesses and large businesses alike to implement and innovative business strategies, business processes, and systems that ensure effective execution and achievement of goals. Now, KK is an accredited facilitator with CERDOL contribution compass, through which he assists individuals and teams to harness their natural energy for the maximum contribution and performance. He is also the youngest certified facilitator, youngest, now that makes him awesome anyway, um, of the Deal Maker program, where he teaches people about the principles of deal making and negotiation as tools for increasing profitability within their business. KK also facilitates mindset change as well as leadership development programs to assist companies create a culture of positive, passionate people who can adapt and thrive in times of rapid change. Now, I've had the pleasure with KK over the last few months, and I've sat in some of his workshops, and he's really an engaging facilitator that has a passion to help businesses thrive. So welcome, KK.
Wow, that was
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be hosting webinars with someone in the same room. It's pretty great. Feels like the whole world is here. Again, thanks to everyone for being here. This is really a pleasure and a privilege for me to be doing this with everyone. It's disappeared on me. I'm just going to share my screen again with everyone. Share my screen. If everyone could just give me a sec.
Yeah, my audio is my audio working? So no. Sorry, guys. If there's a bit of a technical challenge.
But we're coming back up now. If you can just give us a sec.
Sorry about the challenges. Technology is the best when it works. Today it just doesn't seem to be working. It's on a go slow Friday. So what KK is doing is just going to share his screen slides with us in terms of what he's going to be presenting today. Okay.
Well, folks, if you can hear me, I'm just waiting for the little egg timer to stop turning.
We really do apologize for the delay. Unfortunately, only as fast as technology allows it. It was all working perfectly fine, about 2 minutes even as the session started. We really do apologize for this. Please be patient while we try and sort out the technical issues.
All right, there we go. It looks like we're getting somewhere. You know, the trick is to stay calm. Always. Can you guys hear me? Can I just get a whoop whoop or a yes, yes, you can hear me? Please type in your text box to let me know you can hear me.
Whoop, whoop, I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you, Riboni. Thank you. James, thank you. Great, guys. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm just going to kick into full steam, full gear. I'm hoping you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? All right. Let's do this. Guys, thank you very much, and apologies for that slight delay. For those who don't know me, I'm KK Diaz. Noleen, you said a mouthful, and I really appreciate it. You know, it's always funny when somebody's introducing you and they tell your entire history or entire qualification, if you have any. I have more experience than anything else. So I really appreciate that introduction.
You're welcome.
Are we good? All right, fantastic. So, some people will wonder, why should I be listening to this guy? Besides what Noleen mentioned, my team and I have worked with a couple of interesting clients over the last couple of years. I've been doing what I've been doing for at least, for about 10 years at least. Professionally, I'm 38 now. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 9 years old, selling sweets, selling all kinds of different stuff. So it's really been a phenomenal experience, and I really appreciate everybody for being here. Just as a slight warning to everyone, what you're going to be hearing today is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not simple, or rather it is simple, but it's not going to be easy for most of you. It's not easy for people such as myself who've been doing it for many, many years. And even accomplished entrepreneurs will tell you that some of the stuff we're going to share with you may sound simple, but it's not easy to do. And it will be overwhelming for some. We do have a lot to cover, so if you can, put your phone on silent. We call this the no cell phone zone. And I can see some of you are attending to emails, pretending you're listening. I can see you. So please do pay attention. I'm going to go through quite a lot of stuff that you don't want to miss, okay? If you can, do get yourself a notepad and then a pen or pencil, whatever you use these days. Put your phone away, and we're gonna again go into full steam right into the next couple of content. So those of you who've been in business for some time will know that businesses fail. Small to medium businesses, even large businesses, fail terribly over these just in history and in the life of business in general. Between 65 to 80% of businesses fail, and these are stats around the world. A couple of years ago, it was said that, say about 10 years ago, that some of the companies that have been listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, these are companies that were known to last decades and decades. But now, companies, large corporates, are also lucky to survive 10 years. So some of the issues that we're talking about that the small business entrepreneurs face, these are also challenges that are faced by corporates as well. They also fail, and they also go again. They face some of these challenges that we are going to be discussing today. But more than challenges, we're going to discuss how you can overcome the challenges and ensure that you are ready and prepared for some of these challenges. So one of my favorite people that I still do look up to him. Unfortunately, he's now passed. His name is Alvin Toffler. He said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot unlearn and relearn. And today's session is really about that: is what new information can we share with you, and how can you use it in unlearning and relearning some new things that will be applicable for you and your business. So one of the things that I like to share, and I like this because it gives me an opportunity, to call it to upset people who call themselves entrepreneurs, right? One of the most fundamental things that we as entrepreneurs, or in inverted commas, that we don't understand or appreciate is that most of us are not truly entrepreneurs, right? We happen to be technicians. If you read the book, The E-Myth, by Michael E. Gerber, you would have learned this before, and I guess this is a reminder that most of us, more than anything, are technicians. And technicians are people who actually do the work. We are the client-facing technicians who fulfill the client's requirements. We make the promise, and we also deliver on that promise. So what we need to understand is, in our pursuit to become entrepreneurs, and then maybe let me define what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur, we define an entrepreneur as somebody who owns a business that runs completely independently from that person. Does that make sense? Right? In other words, do you own a business that operates on its own? And that we then define an entrepreneur as somebody in that position. But before you can become an entrepreneur, yes, we do most of our start as technicians. We then learn how to manage ourselves, learn how to manage the people we work with, the resources and the business itself. And ultimately, we then become an entrepreneur. This is when we can step out of that position of being a technician in the hope that the business that we run, that we own rather, will run on its own. So I'm going to share with you 5 tactics that you can apply in ensuring that you have a strategy that helps you to become that entrepreneur. I hope that's fine with everyone, right?
Yes.
And you say, whoop, whoop. Right? Type yes, type good in your text box, just to make sure that I still have everyone's attention and everybody agrees or disagrees. Thank you to everyone. I like that. Thanks for the feedback. So tactic number 1, right? As I said, we're gonna quickly go through a lot of these pretty quickly in the hope that we don't waste your time. We give you as much value as you came to get today. So the first tactic is know thyself, right? Know your limits, know your strengths and your weaknesses in order to be able to leverage off your time, because let's be honest, we all don't have enough time to do the things that we want to do on a day-to-day basis. And some of you may be thinking, did I make the right decision to be spending an hour with these guys on this webinar, right? Thinking, geez, maybe I could be doing something better with my time. Trust me, this hour that you're going to spend is going to help you see your situation in a much better light and help you make better decisions going forward. So thanks again for making the time. So some of you may know who this guy is, right? I can see the slides are taking some time to load on the actual screen, but there's a slide coming out quickly right now. Any second now. There we go. Some of you know who this guy is, right? Who's this guy? Type in the box.
I have no idea.
Type in the box.
I'm a girl. I don't watch football.
This is Lionel Messi, who plays for Barcelona, right? And this guy is known to have scored the most goals in the last couple of years. I mean, he's been selected or awarded as FIFA's best player of the year in a couple of years in a row, right? Never heard of before. I think Ronaldo, the old Ronaldo from Brazil, also got to achieve the status a couple of years ago. But not many people get to achieve this status, and I'll tell you why, right? Lionel Messi is somebody who's very immersed in what he does. He's very much in flow. He's got what we call natural energy, natural talent. He's playing at his best. He's leveraging off his natural born talent and playing his A game, right? And there's a reason that he's able to do this, and there's a couple of things that I'm going to talk to you about that he's able to achieve that. One of the things that Noleen mentioned around my accreditations, one of them is the contribution compass. So I'm somebody who's fully accredited to facilitate this tool called the contribution compass, and it helps people to identify their natural talent, their natural strengths, which then help you to better understand, the best areas that you can play in your business. So if we go back to Lionel Messi, imagine if Lionel Messi, who scored the biggest number of goals in the world over the last couple of years, imagine if he was a goalkeeper, right? Imagine if he was a defender. I think we can always see him when he's playing, that this guy as a striker, he's like a lion, as his name says, really a hunter. He's somebody who's out there. You want to put him in the front. He's client facing, he's goal facing, and he gets you the goals, right? You give him the ball, you know what you're going to get from that. But if you put him in a different position that doesn't speak to his natural energy, to his talent, you are going to possibly get the worst performance out of him. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Right. So tactic number 1, know who you are, know your strengths, and know which role you play. And how do you know? Yes, you don't take guesses, but you use tools like the contribution compass, which we'll talk about a little bit more. So as you can see, it has about 8 profiles, and there are many profiling tools out there, but over the last 5 years, this is the tool that I chose to use for myself. I've seen the amount of benefits and advantages that it's given me in better understanding my own strengths and my own weaknesses, and therefore how to leverage and how to better grow a team, and so we can all perform at our peak. Now, the next slide will show you some examples of what I'm referring to when I speak to the different profiles. So right at the top is one of the guys that I'm truly proud of, as a South African. I don't know if he still considers himself South African, but at the top there is Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk was, I still hope he's South African. I mean, if you know about Elon Musk, you can see all the amazing creations that he's come up with. You know, he's a true creator. He's a catalyst. He's somebody who starts new things. I mean, Elon Musk is somebody right now who's putting together a team and billions of US dollars to take people to Mars. I recently saw a video where he's trying to help curb traffic in LA, and what he's doing is he's building these underground tunnels where the cars, you know, your typical parking slot, right? You park and then you press a button and you get taken underground. Imagine that, right? And you get to drive underground in a tunnel. Again, it helps save traffic space. There are many other things that Elon Musk has come up with. Now, as a creator, what you want to do with the creator is get the best out of creators in terms of the ideas. What creators do and catalysts, what they do is they actually have the greatest of energy when it comes to being a catalyst to starting off new things. They're great at coming up with ideas. They're great at, if you're a company and you're stuck, or as a team you're stuck, trying to solve certain problem, you need a catalyst that's going to bring in that kind of energy that's going to help you kick off stuff, kick off new projects. If you've got projects that you've been needing to kick off, in a lot of cases, it's possibly because in your team you don't have that energy, right? I'm not going to be able to touch on all of these profiles. I'm just going to give you ideas of how these work. If we look at Coach, Tony Shea, you've probably heard of Zappos. So I'm hoping you can see my cursor. By Coach over here, this is Tony Shea. Tony Shea's profile is that of a coach. Now, somebody like Tony Shea, he sees his own successes when other people succeed. He's what you call a people's person, right? His greatest energy is he's fantastic at connecting with people. He's amazing with helping people be the best that they can be. Now, you may be thinking, but all of us want that for ourselves. Trust me, people like Elon Musk, like Steve Jobs, like some of the greatest catalysts in the world have been known to be very bad with people, right? And one of the reasons is because their natural energy to be catalysts, to be creators who start things, they always leave people behind. You know, and a lot of entrepreneurs will realize that they do this for themselves, where they'll spend months and months creating stuff, and you look back to see where the rest of your team is, and they're far behind. It's because you have this natural energy, this natural talent. You just keep going and keep going, like Lionel Messi. You're somebody who's just always running. You're always out there chasing new things. But when you're not aware of your natural talent, your natural energy, you also not be aware of your weaknesses. Your weakness as somebody who's very strong as a catalyst is that you'll typically be always be leaving people behind. And what that means is you start projects and they never get completed, right? And then you get people like Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg, I'm not sure if she still is the COO of Facebook, but you have people like, this is right at bottom, the custodian. A custodian is somebody that you can trust to deliver on projects, somebody who delivers on the promises that you make. So somebody like Elon Musk, who starts and kicks off projects, requires somebody who's the opposite of who he is, who will ensure that they deliver on the promise that they make, right? I'm going to go to the tempering side, which is the conductor. If you look at the conductor, if you're not familiar who that person is Sergey Brin. Sergey Brin is co-founder of Google. Now, Sergey Brin is the direct opposite of somebody like Tony Shea. He's not a people's person. And if you think of Google is very much a numbers driven and a data and a statistical driven business. And that's how Sergey Brin is made up. His energy, his talent is that of the numbers, of somebody who's able to put numbers and people together to combine these resources in order to create this piece of music. Hence, it's called a conductor. And if you think of a conductor, if you can just picture a conductor who's conducting an orchestra, where are they facing when they conduct?
The orchestra.
They face in the orchestra and not the customers, right?
Correct.
So typically these are people who you never get to see interfacing or interacting with the public or with the customers. You know, they're great at putting resources together and ensuring maximum output. The bad thing is about them, at least, if they're not aware, if they're not a mature conductor who's aware of their own weaknesses, is that they'll really piss people off, right? I.e., if you arrive late and you've got a very good personal reason why you're late, maybe something was wrong with your child and you needed to go and take care of your family, they don't care, right? What they care about is you did not arrive on time, right? They care about results. They care about the numbers. If you make an argument with this person and saying, I was feeling this or I was feeling it, but they're like, but the promise was you would deliver on this, right? And that would be the typical weakness. He's very strong with stats, he's very strong with numbers, but very weak when it comes to people. So the idea of understanding your strengths and weaknesses is know how your weaknesses could potentially be pissing your team off, and therefore you're not leveraging off your team. Okay, so I hope this gives you an idea in terms of the extent of which you need to understand who you are. You could potentially be thinking a strength is your strength, but that strength could be a weakness in the eyes of other people and therefore your team. So part of this tool helps you to understand then who you need next in your team. For example, if you look at the coach over here, the inspiring side, the yellow side, which is on your right, if you're a coach, the person you need next in your team is typically a custodian, right, to help you cover some of those areas that you're missing. And then you would skip 2 of those profiles to get a calibrator, somebody who works with processes and systems. And I'm sure you'll agree, Noleen, people who typically are good with people, right? People's persons, people's people, they don't do that well when it comes to processes and systems.
Hell no.
Right? And so when you build your team, one of the biggest mistakes as entrepreneurs that we do is we choose people we like. And typically people we like are people who are just like us.
Yes.
And then you wonder why stuff just never happens in your business, because now there are 2 of you.
Yeah,
right?
Nothing gets done.
Nothing gets done. There's a lot of creation. There's a lot of other things that are happening. So it's truly important that you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm going to now go to the next point, but just to wrap this point up, is when you don't know your natural talent, you don't know your natural energy, you will not be in flow. You'll keep doing the same thing over and over again and wonder why things just never move, right? So it's truly important that you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. So that's tactic number 1. Tactic number 2, build and design a scalable business model. Now, what do I mean by scalable? If you consider a mom and pop's flower shop, that sells flowers, typically like the one you see in your image now. Now compare that to Net Florist, right? These 2 companies are literally selling the same product, which are flowers or gifts in the case of Net Florist. However, their business model completely different, right? Completely different in that Net Florist uses a website. They're using a way that enables their business to scale way beyond what a typical mom and pop store can do. So think you are in Italy, you've got somebody who's not feeling well, they're in a hospital in Cape Town. You can literally go on their website, order flowers, order some gifts, and they get delivered. But you can't do the same with the mom and pop store. So that speaks to a business model. There's a lot of extent that goes into designing what's called a business model, and we use a tool called the business model canvas. Let me show you another 2 examples and then we'll move on from this point. Some of you who are familiar with the kota, right? The kota from, whether it's from Devon, the Devonites like to lay claim over this piece of cuisine they call it a bunny chow, right? But those who know it as kota, a typical corner store in the township will sell, sorry folks, the delay, there's quite a bit of delay on the slides, but it is coming, just give it a sec. Your typical cafe in the store that sells, there we go, that sells a kota, will literally just sell you a kota. That's their business model, is to feed you at that moment. But when you consider what Kota Joe has done with their franchise model, at the end of the day, they're selling the same, what you'd consider to be the same product, which is the meal. However, Kota Joe is in the business of actually selling franchises and not so much selling just a kota. Now you can take the same product and create a completely different business model out of that. Does it make sense, Noleen?
Yes, it does. You absolutely are.
Cool. Guys, am I making sense? Please just text in. Let me know if I'm speaking nonsense.
So Stephen is saying that the business model canvas is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It is. I love that too. And you know, it's one of the first places where you want to start when you are designing a new business or business strategy for yourself. One last example around this business model. Chisanyama is another one. Stelio Nathaniel, you know, obviously came across this concept of people, whether it's in the townships or whatever the case may be. And when you think about it, Braai is a big culture in this country, you know. So you can either start a corner store again or corner-based Chisanyama where you're just buying meat, or you can be somebody like Stelio Nathaniel, who was the founder of Chisanyama. Guess how much he made?
Lots.
Lots and lots. Now, he started this franchise based on a particular product or service, and he made 50 million, and I think it was in less than 3 years.
Oh, wow.
He created this business model and sold it to his famous brands. I'm sure you'll find it online. Do research it, and you'll see that what I'm talking is not just nonsense, but it actually makes sense. So depending on your business model, you can truly make lots and lots of, you can create lots and lots of wealth. You know, you can create recurring revenue. There's different ways that you can definitely achieve great success using a scalable business model. So tactic number 2, the first one was know who you are, know your strengths and weaknesses, and secondly, build a scalable business model. And on your screen right now, you should be able to see the tool that we use that was designed or developed by Alex Osterwalder, the gentleman from Sweden who did this about 10 years ago, and he's been, you know, he's helped so many businesses with this very simple tool. You know, you think this one piece, this tool that lives on a single piece of paper can do nothing for your business, but it's truly revolutionary and can help you to innovate your business. There's a couple of other business models, but just in the interest of saving time, I'm not going to spend too much time. You've seen Nespresso. You know, Nespresso used that one tool to simply create a whole new business model out of what they do. If you haven't seen or experienced Nespresso, I know in Santon they have one of their boutique stores. There's a picture coming up now. You'll see what, at a distance at least, what their boutique store looks like. Now imagine walking into a shop like that and only to buy coffee, right? Who would have imagined over 10 years ago that you could walk into a store like this just for coffee? So they changed their business model completely because they were facing so much challenge, so much competition, and they needed to create a whole new business model out of that. And what they did is they went out and looked for manufacturers to help them develop some great machines. And those who buy an espresso will know that for the same price where you buy 6-7 pods of coffee, you can literally buy a can of coffee that will make you hundreds and hundreds of cups of coffee, right? Now that's the power and the magic of a business model, ladies and gentlemen. Now you can either sell cans of coffee or you can sell machines and pods of coffee, your choice, right? There's also a business model that one of our clients, you know, came to see us a couple of years ago, where he was really sad about his inability to spend time with his family. He's a photographer, famous photographer, you know, developing and creating pictures for some of the country's greatest celebrities. Now he was in demand, always just never at home and never being able to spend time with his wife and family. We helped him to develop a new business model, converted his business model from a company that makes money through taking pictures to one that actually sells pictures online. And now he's able to spend time with his family because he makes money off the website selling images and not needing to go out to make money using his camera. I hope that makes sense. So find ways to build a scalable business model. You know, that's one of the keys, greatest tactics and keys to enabling you to then step out of your, I guess, your role as a technician, i.e. build a system that will enable you to make or generate revenue and income and wealth without you needing to do the work yourself. Tactic number 3, build an automated sales and marketing machine. I think we all know how busy everyone is, including ourselves, right? but we still optimistically think that we can make the time to do the sales, to do the marketing. You may think, why is KK saying this? Right? Here's an example, right? Where are you now, right? You are sitting and listening to me speak to you, and let's be honest, you could be doing something else with this time. But what you are doing with your time right now, I would like to believe that it's time that's going to help you invest even more effort in, I guess, smarter effort into your business, right? Some of you are thinking, geez, I could be making some sales calls right now, but I'm busy listening to this guy, right?
Of course.
Right? But hopefully there's a reason why, right? I know there's a reason why you're here, and I'm hoping you'll get that value as we go through the rest of the content. But the reason why you want to build an automated sales and marketing machine is because you want to be able to sit and listen to webinars, right? When you have an automated sales and marketing machine, what it does when you are busy learning, educating, and developing yourself is the machine works itself. You know, people arrive on your website or they find your content online, is the machine takes care of it. It nurtures that relationship and ultimately converts them into customers who possibly be your customers for the lifetime of your business or for as long as they are around. Does that make sense? That's one of the reasons why you want to build an automated sales and marketing machine, so that the machine takes care of the business, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So some scary stats: 87% of salespeople and entrepreneurs, they miss their sales targets. Imagine that. So a lot of us only close less than 10% of the sales that we should be making, right? I mean, it's horrendous. And the thing is, it's not going to change. It gets more and more difficult each time because we are all as busy as we are. We are all pressed for the time that we need to implement in business. We need the time that we need in family, to spend time with our family and with our friends, you know, and sometimes just quiet time. I've seen how more and more difficult it is to just have your own quiet time because, you know, you just want to be by yourself. Imagine already as hard as you are working, you're already missing, you know, up to 87% of your sales targets. So why do businesses miss their sales targets? That's because internet technology and a whole lot of other innovations have given potential customers, great insight, great information that enables them to research and be up to 90% ready to make a purchase before they even contact you, Noleen. Imagine that, right? Back in the olden days, people used to be able to walk into a shop or pick up the phone and call you and ask for information around a particular piece of product or service that they needed. But now they can go online, right? Mm-hmm. Which is one of the reasons why you want to create as much content as possible online, so that when people are searching for information, educational information around your products or services, for example, where do I get the freshest and the best fish? Online, right?
Right, Joseph?
Right, Joseph? Now, you want to create the kind of business that's going to enable people to come to you, right? And this is about educating customers, not necessarily to selling them right off the bat. The second point says 81% of sales happen after you make 7 or more contacts. Again, this is why you want to automate your sales and marketing, because you don't have the time to be able to make 7 or more calls. I mean, I know we've had to contact some of our clients up to 20 times, you know, because yes, we do sell high value items sometimes to corporate and so on. And in some cases, it will take years, right? And because we're small businesses, we don't necessarily have big budgets to invest in big sales teams. So we've built these machines, whether it's CRM or marketing automation, that enables these conversations to carry on without us needing to always be involved in those interactions. All right, so the last point I wanted to make is, if you look at your screen right now, give it a few seconds, you should be able to see what's called the 8-step CRM method, which enables you to truly automate the entire sales and marketing process. And if you look at the bottom of that screen, it's slowly coming. I'm going to wait for it. I can see it on Noleen's machine. It's taking its own time, right?
Not enough coffee. It's a Friday morning, right?
So ultimately, what you need to take away from this particular tactic is that potential customers will not do any business with you unless they know who you are, unless if they like you, trust you, and then only will they do business with you, right? Again, in the interest of time, I would have loved to tell you a whole lot more about this particular piece of I guess, of a strategy, this tactic. But basically, I'm going to quickly wrap up this point and introduce Noleen. Basically, you want to entice your customers, right? You want to give them a reason to speak to you. And once you've enticed them, you need to be able to, and you entice them by giving them a piece of what's called perceived high value content in exchange for their contact details and so on. And I know it sounds silly, but guess what? This webinar is precisely one of those things. It's a high value piece of educational content that our prospective customers would value. Absolutely. And guess what we got in exchange? We got their email address.
Ooh,
right? James, Marco, and all of you guys, you can't really run away anymore because we've got your contact details, right? Yeah. And what this enables us is it enables us to nurture the relationship and hopefully continue giving you more valuable, valuable information. And the whole idea is we want you guys to get to know us. Yeah. We want you to get you guys to like us and to hopefully to trust us. And at some point, hopefully we can do some business.
Absolutely.
Right? And, talking about getting people to know, like, and trust you, right? I'd like to then take this opportunity to introduce Noleen. Noleen Thompson is somebody who's, a phenomenal LinkedIn expert, social media thought leader, and MD of LadyBugz. And my business is one of her clients. She helped me out. If you look at my profile on LinkedIn and you think it's cool, know that this is just the magic and the work that Noleen and her team have put into that profile. And I'm very happy with the services that you provide. And I have to give you credit. The webinar that you're on today is also the work of Noleen. She's organized this whole thing, and as much as I'm talking, as much as I am, right, it truly is her show. Noleen is somebody who's worked in sales and marketing for over 20 years, and in the past 7 years, she's truly helped her clients and obviously herself to grow their LinkedIn followings quite significantly. Noleen is very passionate about LinkedIn and has successfully used it to grow her B2B networking, and she helps companies to do the same. They focus on training and coaching you and your teams to use LinkedIn to build your company brand, to stand out and to increase engagement. That in turn starts generating leads. Do you see where I'm going with this? Right? Yeah. It's about getting people to know, like, and trust you in the hope that you can do business. So Noleen, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Maybe I feel like I'm the best sliced cheese or sliced bread, depending on where you are. So just from a LinkedIn perspective, so most of you have actually registered and joined today because of how we utilize LinkedIn to promote this. And hence the reason why we're saying that to nurture and create the lead environment, so to start that process, LinkedIn employee posts, you've got more reach than when the company posts.
Sorry, Noleen. I can see that a couple of people stopped hearing you at some point. Sorry about that. Can you hear Noleen right now? And maybe you need to come and switch over and come and sit on my. Yeah. Okay, cool. They can hear you now. Maybe let's do this.
Okay, sorry, guys.
All right, awesome. Maybe continue over there. I think let's see if that works.
I'll switch mine off.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
Sorry, guys. Okay. So from the power of employees, you got 561% more reach
when a brand is, your employees are sharing a brand. So you want to make sure that you're reaching as many people as you can. So even if you only have 2 or 3 people working for you currently, utilize that as an opportunity to build your brand within a social media perspective. Brand messages are shared more times by employees if another employee has posted. So let's say, for instance, the company page may post, but an employee writes an article in the LinkedIn space, that is shared more often because it's now something content-worthy and share-worthy. Okay, and then your average employees have 10 times more followers than a company page. Now, to give you an example, within the LinkedIn space, my poor little LadyBugz page has a very poor following, but within my personal professional profile, I have 7,500 people. So it's different spaces for different people, but within, you've got a bigger social media account, you've got more engagement because people are wanting to talk to people. At the end of the day, sales is about the person and not the company. If you have showing a great experience, your engagement increases by 8 times. Okay, now you're also going, okay, so now we're nurturing these people, we're sitting in that funnel, but now how are we converting? Now remember, you've got to have connection with them 7 to 8 times. Is that right, Paul? More, okay?
At least 7 to 8 times.
At least. Now, if you're wanting that, how about posting regularly? They are seeing your posts more regularly. They are seeing your name more regularly. They are trusting your name because other people are making recommendations on your behalf. That builds up your brand. So not just in a LinkedIn space. Obviously, there's a whole process. There's calls, there's meetings, there's everything from that perspective. But you are more likely to convert, 7 times more likely to convert actually, if you are having a personal brand in terms of putting it out there correctly. You outsell 78% outsell their peers. So if you have a sales team and that person is using LinkedIn, that person will outsell everybody else by 78%. 92% of people trust the recommendation. So how often do you guys in a Facebook group, a community group saying, I'm looking for a plumber? And then suddenly you've got a whole bunch of people that's recommended a plumber. And how did you get that information? You didn't even get that information from Google anymore. You posted in a social media perspective and you got the recommendations. Now that happens within the LinkedIn space as well, where people will say, I'm looking for a training provider, I'm looking for a lawyer, I'm looking for whatever. And then suddenly they start actually saying, well, maybe go to this person. But now if your brand is not worth landing on or your personal profile is not worth landing on, it's not going to sell itself. Okay. Marketers who prioritize blogging are 13 times more likely to actually be seen as a thought leader within that space. And consistency is key. You want to make sure that you are consistently out there, or even your social media perspective, it happens. So let me give you an example what I mean by consistency. 3 or 4 months ago, I posted, I can do a free profile assessment for you. And I got about 20 people responding. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do this again. I have a bit of time for about 20 or 30 profiles. This was last week, Sunday. We are sitting at 2,150 requests.
Wow. For
profile assessment.
Wow.
And that goes to show about consistency and adding value to your network. So it goes back to the point of what Take was saying earlier about adding value. So you're not just creating a database of people, but you're actually adding value to that network because then they see that you're nurturing and really do care about the business results. Okay, so why aren't you teaching your employees to use LinkedIn and help them express themselves as well as and build your brand to attract talent as well? So remember, people look at LinkedIn to actually see, is this a company I want to work with? Little bit of a profile basics. So it's about the who, the what, and the how. We don't have a lot of time to go into the in-depth detail, but it's about making sure that your profile is worth landing on. Now, don't be this guy. Don't be the guy that puts a profile picture up and says, this is me, I'm going to, would you buy from him? No. Would you buy from her because she's got a little kitty and, oh, that's very sweet? That's not a professional profile. So what you need to look at as from a professional profile perspective, you have a professional background, you have a professional picture, so it's a head and shoulders so that I can see your smiley face and your eyes that are actually smiling back, because you need to be engaging. No one wants to do business with Mr. Grumpy, okay? Have your name, so just, a clean name, not CPF, MBA, Kusatu, I don't know what else you're going to put in there. Just make sure it's your name, okay? You've got a headline, so that tells how you add value. It's not what you do. So I'm not the MD at ABC Shoes. It tells me, what do I do to help my employees as the MD at ABC Shoes, okay? Then the rest of the information gets pulled through from your experience within your profile. And then your first 2 lines of your summary also adds value. Now you have 7 seconds, and yes, 7 seconds to land to say to someone, you need to do business with me, continue scrolling, or are they going to slide left and say next profile? You have a choice to make it worth landing on, or they're just going to slide. So these are the little points. What makes a good LinkedIn profile? Professional headline, profile background, customize your URL, update your company websites. You know how many times I've done these profile assessments, and they have the website of their very first job, and they're actually now an entrepreneur, and they're not even promoting their own websites.
5-7 years later.
Correct.
Yeah.
So optimize your summary. Everything within LinkedIn is searchable. And when I say everything, I mean everything in LinkedIn is searchable. So make sure you add as much information in your summary as possible. Add your company description to add your skills. You've got up to 50 skills, because remember, everything is searchable. Your projects, your publications. I mean, LinkedIn has all of this capability. And make sure you add your contact information, people. How they're going to contact you if they're not connected with you. Make sure you put that information, and recommendations adds to credibility. Thank you, KK.
Wow, thank you, Noleen. So one of the things that Noleen and I were discussing earlier is just, and I'm hoping that you share the same sentiment, is that it's not easy for people to be on camera. It's not easy for people to host their own webinars. And I can't help but say this. I know we didn't plan it, but I'd like to give an opportunity to some of the people who are on here to get in touch with us, and if they'd like to, co-host a webinar with us.
Absolutely.
Don't you think that'd be great?
Awesome.
And we can all continue to just providing value to each other and to our network. I mean, I can see Carissa Parker is online. She's a attorney. She's a lawyer, and her company is called Law on the Go. It would be great to kind of learn a couple of things around the law and how it affects us, and how we can protect ourselves as entrepreneurs. I know Joseph, who's involved in quite a lot of things, some community development projects in the rest of Africa, and this is the same Joseph who runs the fish business that we were talking about. This is something he started on side, but his main focus is how to develop communities, and I think that's fantastic. Again, there's a lot of people. Stephen would like to see what we can do with you. Kone, same thing applies. It's like, guys, let's get together. If you have content that you'd like to share, Noleen and I are available to definitely just hook up with you, and host a webinar to see how we can add value to the rest of the community.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. I can see your comments. I really appreciate the fact that you're keen to do that. So I'm going to quickly try and wrap this up. Again, the idea is not to spend more time than we promised. We want to keep our word and ensure that next time we invite you, that you don't have excuses and say that we are wasting your time. So tactic number 4, we have a few minutes left, so I'm going to try and wrap it up. Tactic number 4, over and above implementing your sales and marketing machine, a lot of people are very much just stuck in their own businesses. People are unable to truly go out there and do what they need to do, or just unplug from work. Not enough people are able to take time off and
holiday. What's that?
Holiday. Right? Some people don't even know what. Don't even have that word in their vocab. Carissa, I'm not going to tell them what you said yesterday when you were talking about how much time you were able to take off. But yeah, we're going to work towards that. We're going to work on improving that for all of us, right? What I've enjoyed in the last year and a half yeah, even for myself, you know, late in as late as this in my career, every 3 months or so, I'm able to take off a week or so, you know, and it's nice. I enjoy it, you know. Last week we were at the Drakensberg Mountain. We were at Champagne Castle. Oh yes, I am. Yes, I am. It was just a beautiful scenery. It was a partner conference. Yes, you may say it was work, but trust me, it was a chill out time, you know, with our colleagues, and we were just enjoying and celebrating our successes for the past year. Again, congratulations to the guys at SODA, Contribution Campus. You know, I personally had a phenomenal time over there, so I really appreciate it. Now, implementing business processes and systems truly help you to build what's called a process-dependent business. A process-dependent business is a business that, you know, that functions and operates without anybody's, you know, direct influence. And what that means is your business can continue to work, and you can, you know, work without you. It continues to help you earn while you sleep. It helps you or enables you to take time off. And more importantly, I think one of the things that we as human beings love and need in our lives is us being able to help other people.
Yeah.
Now, when you are in a position where your business can do all of these wonderful things without your direct input, you can go out there and spend, you know, time developing communities. You know, and do the kind of work that people like Joseph do. You know, go to different countries in Africa and just go out there and get your hands dirty and just, you know, do I think what we all know this country and continent needs. And now the tactic and the trick to that is implementing your business processes and doing what's called working on your business, not necessarily in your business. Remember, when you work in your business, this takes you back to being a technician, right? Versus an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is somebody who's obviously a leader in the business, and they work more on their business, ensuring the business continues to do what it does, regardless of whether they are around or not. The next couple of slides, I'm going to skip them to try and get to the final slides, because again, I want to stay true to our word and to our promise. I want us to get to a point where next time we invite you, that you are, you know, you don't shy away, because I think when these guys say it'll take an hour, and it actually goes beyond the hour. So the slide you're seeing now are the different back office, call them elements or processes and systems that you want to have in your business in helping ensure that it is process dependent. If you're interested to know more, feel free to get in touch and we can talk about that. I want to talk to tactic number 5. Right? This is extremely important, and what I'm proud of is all of you are already implementing tactic number 5. You know, because you're here. They're all here. You know, digital high five. It's on its way. High five to you. You get a big up from Noleen and I. But more than anything, technique number 5, commit to continuous learning. All right. Going back to what Alvin Toffler said, he says the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. All right. You being here means you're taking the time to learn new things so that you can improve your personal self, your personal life, and obviously your professional, your career, your business, and so forth. So I give you big ups for that. Jim Rohn, also the late one of the greatest, you know, inspirational and motivators and speakers in the past. He says poor people have big TVs, but rich people have big libraries. You know, I'd rather have a big library.
Or Kindle.
Yeah, or Kindle. Yes. If you look at all my devices, you know, my Kindle is just full of different kind of books. And more than anything, I'm not saying look up to me. I'm saying I aspire to be just that. You know, I not only you know, read and or rather write and publish my own books, but I'm reading other people's books.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always out there just reading minimum five books at any one time, because I just love to read. You know, it's truly wonderful and great. As part of tactic number 5, you know, it's not just about learning from books, but you also want to collaborate with people that you can learn from. You know, I mean, you look at what we're doing together right now.
Absolutely.
I'm learning so much from LinkedIn. You know,
and I'm learning from business processes.
Oh, beautiful. I was just with a client yesterday that I met for the first time, and it was amazing to find out that they required, they had a need for something that you couldn't fulfill, and it was easy for me to say, hey, I know this person. You know, I know this person. I'm going to introduce you to Noleen. I know she's going to take care of you because she's done the same for me. So, and more than just collaborating with people that you can learn from, you know, I'm sure you heard this before, but the top 5 people that you spend most of your time with, you will become the average of those people. Now, I'm not saying you are possibly in a situation where the quality of people that you live or work with are not necessarily good quality. But I'm happy to be hanging out with people such as you, you know, the Carisses of this world and everybody else, because I think we all aspire to greatness. And you know, if I become the average of the people that I spend time with, like I know I'm going to be happy. And so I do watch the kind of people that I spend time with. So, you know, again, it's part of tactic number 5. Ensure that you continuously learning and you surround yourself with people who will help you build yourself. So I guess it goes without saying, you know, get yourself a coach. You know, whether it's a LinkedIn coach or business coach or personal development coach. You know, I have maybe 3, 4, 5 coaches at any one time, because I have all of these areas in my life that I always want to improve. So that's tactic number 5. And in wrapping up, folks, I hope you did get enough value. Just in wrapping up, I'm going to go through the tactics again. The first one was know thyself. You know, so you can leverage your strengths and obviously, you know, be mindful of your weaknesses, right? Because you can get the 10 times output if you focus more on your strengths than on your weaknesses. But you'll only be able to do that if you know your strengths, right? And therefore how to avoid having to apply your weaknesses. Tactic number 2, design a scalable business model. Stop wasting time with the kind of model where you always need to be around in order for the business to make money. Right? So think and ask yourself, how can I create a kind of business? What kind of model would it take for that business to continue functioning without me? And more importantly, being relevant even in the future, right? Because you want to build a kind of legacy business that will continue to generate income and revenue going forward, whether you're involved or not. Tactic number 3, create a sales and marketing machine. Thanks again to Noleen for giving us the great insight on LinkedIn and how you can do that. Again, the trick here is to get people to know, like, and trust you, because it's only then that they'll do business with you, at least business for the lifetime of your business, as well as for as long as they're around. Tactic number 4, implement business processes and systems so your business can be process dependent, right? So you can continue running, or that business continues to operate whether you are there or not. Tactic number 5, commit to continuous learning. One of my favorite people that I just grew up watching on TV was Bruce Lee. Right? And he said, knowing is not enough, we must apply.
Yeah.
Willing is not enough, we must do. Yeah. Folks, thanks for attending. So go out there and do. Right? These are the 5 tactics. I'm going to hand over to Noleen to wrap this up for us. Thank you very much again to everybody for attending. It was truly great, and I hope you get great value.
Thank you so much, KK. Thank you so much for your time and the effort that you put into putting this presentation together. I know that's something you've done before, but didn't include, you know, squeezing me in there. And I think that it definitely has added value. Every interaction with you has added value. And as a business coach and as my business coach, I really do appreciate your input and the reminders of things that you know, we should be doing on a daily basis. Thank you, everybody. The recording will be available afterwards. We're just going to upload it again, and we'll send you the links once it's been sent through. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending and taking the time out.
Thanks. Renee, Stephen, Marco, Michelle, we see you. Carissa, thank you. Andres, Iffy. Guys, thanks to all of you for attending. We love you lots. So get in touch. And again, remember, if you do see an opportunity or you'd like to take the risk of putting yourself out there and co-hosting a webinar with us, Noleen are here to do that.
Absolutely. Cheers. Bye-bye.